Have you ever stopped in front of the mirror and asked yourself, what do I have left to achieve? Maybe you don't know it today, but if you are here, if you are watching this video, you are already part of something extraordinary. Because let me tell you something that very few people know. Only 1 in 100 people achieve this at 60. Will it be you? What I'm about to tell you is not just about health, not just about physical strength, not just about luck. It has to do with you, with your story, with what you carry inside you. And before I go on, I want to ask you something. Stay with me until the end, because what you're about to discover here could change the way you live every day from today on. And not just for you, but for those you love. Look, many people reach 60 thinking it's time to start saying goodbye to things, saying goodbye to dreams, to adventures, to desire. But the extraordinary people, those who fall into that 1%, do exactly the opposite. They continue to embrace life with the same strength, or even more, because they now know that every day counts. Today I want to talk to you about those 8 things that only 1 in 100 achieves at 60. And if you can keep them, you will not only be beating time, you will be proving that your story still has powerful chapters to write. And believe me, it doesn't matter if today you feel that you're tired, that something hurts, that you don't have the same energy. Because the greatest strength is not in your muscles, it's here, in your heart. So let's get started, because the first thing, it's something that many underestimate, but it makes all the difference. The first sign that you are in that 1% is that your body is still your partner, not your enemy. That you can get up without help, move without depending on others. Take care of yourself. You may not run a marathon, you may not lift weights, but if you can dress yourself, prepare your own food, go for a walk, do your own shopping, you are already stronger than most. And that, my friend, is a privilege that many don't have. You don't need a life of luxury or expensive surgeries. You need something that costs 0 pesos, but is worth millions, moving every day with purpose. And when I talk about purpose, I don't just mean exercising because you have to. I mean moving because you want to stay alive in every sense of the word, because you want to keep seeing your grandchildren, keep watering your plants, keep walking around your neighborhood, greeting your neighbors. And let me explain why this is huge. According to a 2018 Harvard University study, people over 60 who maintain daily light physical activity reduce their risk of functional dependence by 40%. You don't need to run, you don't need to climb mountains, you need to keep moving. You need to tell your body, I'm still here, I'm still counting on you. But here comes something deeper. When you can keep moving, you not only keep your independence, you keep your dignity. You don't have to depend on your children. You don't have to feel like a burden. And that sense of autonomy is actually the biggest predictor of emotional well-being in old age. So every step you take, it's not just a physical step, it's a step of freedom. So, if you can still do it, congratulations. You're in that 1%. And if not, that's okay. It's never too late to start making up small moves. Every effort counts. Leave in the comments what your goal is. Walking 10 minutes a day? Climbing the stairs without support? Share it, because your goal may inspire someone else reading this video. And while we're talking about movement, here comes something that goes even further than the body. The second sign that you are in that 1% is that your mind remains clear, awake, curious. Did you know that according to Stanford University, older people who stay mentally active have a 30% lower risk of developing dementia? It's not magic. It's that the mind, like a muscle, needs challenges to stay strong. But get this, I'm not talking about memorizing lists or learning algebra. I'm talking about staying curious. Ask questions, read, listen to stories, learn something new. You don't need to go back to school. You just need to not close the door to the new. I remember once I met Doña Maria, a 75-year-old woman who decided to learn to play the piano. She had never done it before. And when I asked her why, she told me something I will never forget. Because if I stop learning, I start dying inside. That phrase stuck with me. And that's the attitude that keeps you inside the 1%. That's why today I want to invite you to do something. Ask yourself, what is that thing you always wanted to learn and never did? A language? Cooking something new? A craft? Write it in the comments. Tell me. Because the first step to learn is to declare it. And here comes something else. Having an active mind not only protects you from oblivion, it protects you from scams. There are many people out there trying to fool seniors with scams, false promises, miracle products. But an awake, critical, alert mind doesn't let them. An awakened mind takes care of your money, takes care of your well-being, takes care of your peace. So, if today you are still able to see beyond appearances, to not fall for every offer that appears at your door or on your phone, you are stronger than you think. You are within that 1% that continues to own your life, your decisions. And that, my dear friend, is worth more than any fortune. As long as your body and mind keep walking hand in hand, your story is still in motion. And there is still much to write. But there is something else. Something that makes the difference between a resigned old age and an extraordinary old age. And I want to share it with you right now. Because the third sign that you are part of that 1% is that your heart is still big. That you are still loving, forgiving, accepting. And this, believe me, is one of the most difficult, but most valuable things. It is not easy to reach 60 without carrying resentments, without accumulated grudges. But if today you are able to look back and let go, you are truly free. A light heart not only lengthens life, it makes the years you have fuller, brighter, more yours. According to a University of California study, older people who practice forgiveness and gratitude have a 25% lower risk of cardiovascular disease. This is no coincidence. The wounded heart is heavy, and the lighter heart beats stronger, freer, happier. That's why today I want to propose something to you. Think of a person you have not yet forgiven. You don't need to call her. You don't need to write to her. Just think about her and repeat inside yourself, I let you go. I free myself. Do it only for yourself, because when you let go, you make room for yourself to live better. And if you've already done it, tell me in the comments, what did you let go of? Because your story, your example, can inspire someone else. So far, we have talked about the body, the mind, and the heart. 3 pillars that keep you grounded in life. 3 signs that, at 60, you still own your story. But it doesn't end here. There's still more to discover. Because being in that 1% is much more than moving, thinking, and feeling. It is an art, a way of living. And I want you to stay with me, because what comes next is what transforms every day into a unique opportunity. And now that we've talked about the body, mind, and heart, I want to take you one step further. Because there is something that, although many do not see it, is what really sustains happiness at this age. Something that goes beyond the physical, beyond health, and that is your ability to enjoy the simple. The 4th sign that you are part of that 1% is that you still find joy in the little things. It may sound simple, But it is not. There are those who at 60 only see what they have lost: youth, opportunities, strength. But the truly wise see what is still left. They see the sun coming through the window. They hear the birds singing in the morning. They savor a cup of coffee as if it were liquid gold. Let me explain why this is huge. A Yale University study found that older people who maintain the capacity for wonder and gratitude in the face of the everyday live on average 7 years longer than those who don't. Can you imagine? 7 more years, just for looking on the bright side of life. This does not mean that you ignore the difficulties. It means that you consciously choose to look at the beautiful as well. That instead of spending your days counting what hurts, you count what makes you smile. And that's a daily choice, one that only the bravest make. Because gratitude is not a feeling, it is a practice. I want to invite you to do something today. Think of 3 things, just 3, that have brought you joy today. They don't have to be big. Maybe it was an unexpected phone call. Maybe it was a ray of sunshine warming your back. Maybe you were able to walk to the store without getting tired. Write them down in the comments. Share them. Because by doing so, you teach others to see the good too. And if you can do this every day, even if it's in the small things, you're already in that 1%. Because not everyone arrives here with the ability to rejoice in the simple. Many become bitter, resentful, frustrated. But not you. You choose joy. You choose wonder. You choose to live. And while we're talking about living, there's something that further distinguishes extraordinary people at this age. The 5th sign that you are part of that 1% is that you continue to add value. That even though you're retired, even though you're no longer working formally, you're still useful, you still feel needed, you still contribute. Maybe you help with the grandchildren. Maybe you are the family counselor. Maybe you share your expertise with others. Maybe you tend your garden and give flowers to neighbors. It doesn't matter how, you keep giving. And giving keeps you alive. Check this out. According to a study published in The Gerontologist, seniors who perform acts of service, however small, have higher self-esteem, lower risk of depression, and better physical health. You don't need grand gestures. You just need to feel that your presence continues to make a difference. This is addictive, because when you give, you receive. When you help, your heart expands. When you contribute, your story grows. So I want to ask you, what is it that you could contribute today? Don't think big. Think of something simple. A phone call, a smile, a piece of advice, a small favor. Let me put it simply. Life doesn't end as long as you can keep giving something. Life shuts down when we stop feeling useful. And if today you are still someone to whom others turn to whom others listen, to whom others look for, you are in that 1% that not only lives, transcends. So today, as you listen to this, think of a person to whom you could give something, even if it's your time, your ear, your affection. Write to her. Call her. Let her know you're there. And if you already do, tell me in the comments what it is that you most enjoy giving. Because your example may inspire someone else who is lonely. But it doesn't end here. Because there's something that many lose with age. And you, if you're here, listening, probably still have it. The 6th sign that you're part of that 1% is that you still have dreams, that you still want something more, that you still have goals, no matter how small. About that inner spark that tells you, I still want to. I still want to learn. I still want to travel. I still want to improve. I still want to love. I still want to laugh. This is rarer than you think. Many people, after a certain age, stop dreaming They settle. They resign themselves. But you don't. You keep saying, it's not too late. And that, my friend, is what keeps the heart young, beyond wrinkles, beyond aches and pains. Did you know that the University of Michigan found in 2017 that older people with personal projects have lower incidence of cognitive decline and longer life expectancy? Your brain activates when it has a goal. Your heart fills up when it feels there is still something to accomplish. That's why I want to invite you to do something today. Think of something you still want to do, something pending, something you always said, someday. Write it down, declare it, comment it here. Because by saying it out loud, by sharing it, you give it power, you give it life. And if you already have that dream on the way, if you are already building it, tell me how you are going. Tell me how you feel. Because that story can be the gasoline for another heart that's fading. I want you to know something. While you dream, you are alive. While you dream, you continue to grow. As long as you dream, you continue to belong to the group of the brave ones, to the group of those who do not give up, to the group of those who keep saying, yes, I can. So we've talked up to this point about rejoicing in the simple, adding value, and continuing to dream. 3 signs that not only keep you in the 1%, but make every day count. Because if you made it this far, if you keep listening, it's because there's something inside you that won't go out. There is a light that keeps shining. And that light, dear friend, is stronger than you can imagine. And now I want you to stay with me, because what's coming is perhaps the most beautiful test, and also the most difficult. But those who achieve this don't just get into the 1%. They become an inspiration to everyone around them. Now that we've come so far together, I want to take you to what, for me, is one of the most powerful signs that you are part of that 1%. And it's something that isn't measured in strength, or money, or even visible accomplishments. It is something invisible, but it is felt every day. The 7th sign that you are part of that 1% is that your spirit is still open, that you are still willing to connect, to love, to forgive, to listen, to learn from others. Because look, many people over the years close themselves off from the world, build walls, say, I've lived my life, but not you. You keep saying, I want to understand, I want to get closer, I want to share. Let me explain why this is huge. According to a Harvard University study, one of the longest ever on human happiness, people who maintain quality loving relationships live longer, feel fuller, and cope better with the physical hardships of old age. It doesn't matter how many friends you have, or whether you are married or single. It matters that you can still love, that you can still give affection, that you still want to receive it. And that, my dear friend, is something immense. Because love is not something that lives only in youth. It is something that can grow, become deeper, more authentic, freer, if you let it. That's why I want to invite you to something. Think of a person you haven't talked to in a while, someone you miss, but don't know how to approach. Maybe a friend, a sibling, an old flame. Today, just send them a message. How are you? I've been thinking about you. And if you don't have anyone to write to, write me here in the comments. I'm here. This community is here. You are not alone. Because that's also what I want you to feel when you are here. A community. A place where you can tell your story, where your voice matters, where what you've lived is valued. But now, I want to talk to you about the last sign, the one that, for me, makes the ultimate difference between simply existing and truly living. The eighth sign that you are part of that 1% is that you still have hope. That even though you have gone through losses, even though you have suffered pain, even though you have seen people you loved say goodbye, you still believe that tomorrow can be a good day. You still believe that something beautiful is about to happen. This is weird, because over the years, the world can harden us. It can make us cynical, distrustful, resigned. But if you, after all you've been through, can still look up at the sky and say, "Thank you," then your heart is invincible. And I want to tell you something else. Hope is not denying pain. Hope is saying to pain, "You are not all there is." Hope is the bravest act of someone who has lived, because after so many trials, to keep believing is, perhaps, the greatest act of self-love. So, if today you are still dreaming about something, if today you still believe that you can improve, that you can laugh, that you can love, that you can learn, you are already beating life. You are already that 1%. And if you don't feel that way yet, it doesn't matter. The simple fact of being here, of continuing to listen, of continuing to search, is already hope. It is already a seed. I want to ask you something. Think of something you are still waiting for. Something you deeply desire, even if you don't say it. Close it for a moment in your heart. And now, let it out. Write it here. Share it. Because by putting it into words, by giving it to the world, you give it wings. You give it possibility. You give it life. I want you to know that no matter how old you are, no matter how many times you have fallen, how many times you have had to start over, if you are still here today, breathing, feeling, looking forward, you are beating the statistics. You are writing a story that deserves to be told. And that's why I invite you, from the bottom of my heart, to subscribe to this channel. Because here, we don't just share tips. We don't just talk about health, wellness, longevity. Here we celebrate life, every day, every story, every silent victory. Like us, if something you heard today resonated in your heart, share it with someone who needs a message of encouragement, of light, of hope. And above all, leave me your story in the comments. Because this channel does not exist without you. Because every comment is a testimony that we are not alone, that we are still here, that we are still fighting, dreaming, believing. Remember, only 1 in 100 makes it to 60. And today, if you've made it this far, if you still have body, mind, heart, spirit, joy, dreams, love, and hope, you're already part of that 1%. And if you are still building any of those pillars, welcome. Here, every little step counts. Every attempt is valued. Every story is a gift. I embrace you from here, wherever you are. And I thank you for sharing this moment with me. Because there is nothing more beautiful than knowing that, even at 60, at 70, at 80, we are still able to live fully, to write new chapters, to leave a mark, and that it is never, never too late to start over, to living your best life at any age. There is something I don't want you to forget, now that we have walked this journey together. Because sometimes, after talking about everything that is needed, everything that is necessary, we can be left with the doubt. What if I don't fulfill everything? What if I'm missing some of those things? I want you to listen to me well. You don't need to be perfect to be in that 1%. You don't need to check all the boxes on a list. You don't need to compare yourself to one, because being part of that 1% is not a destiny. It is a daily choice. It is the decision to wake up every morning and say, "Today, I am going to try. Today, I am also going to move. Today, I am also going to be grateful. Today, I am also going to learn something. Today, I am also going to love. Today, I am also going to hope for the good. And one day, you may not be able to do it all. There may be days when you don't want to get out of bed, when the pain is stronger, when the sadness is heavier. That's okay. It's human. It's part of this journey. But even on those days, if you decide to try again the next day, that already makes you extraordinary. That already makes you strong. That already makes you unique. I want to tell you something. I recently met Don Manuel, an 82-year-old man who every afternoon sits in his neighborhood square to watch life go by. One day, I approached him and asked him, "What do you like most about coming here?" He looked at me, smiled, and said, "I like to see how every day something changes, even if it's just a detail. A new child playing, a different flower, a dog I've never seen before. As long as new things keep happening, I know I'm still alive." That answer got me thinking. Life, in the end, is not the big accomplishments. It's the little moments we keep noticing. It's the desire to keep looking, to keep discovering, to keep being amazed, even though the world insists we've seen it all. And I want to tell you something else. This channel exists for that. To remind you, every time you watch a video, that you still have so much to live, to learn, to share. That your story still matters. That your words can enlighten someone else. That your experience can save someone else. That's why I want to ask you from the bottom of my heart. If this video left you something, no matter how small, don't keep it to yourself. Leave it written here in the comments. It can be a phrase, a memory, an emotion. Your comment can be the hug someone needs, the inspiration someone is looking for, the strength someone is waiting for. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. Not because I say so, but because here we are creating a community of people like you. People who don't give up, people who still have something to say, people who choose to live every day with purpose. Like us, if a phrase resonated with you. And if you know someone who needs to hear this, send them this video. Get this message to them. Give them this opportunity to remember that they still can. I want you to know that even if we don't see eye to eye, I'm here, reading every story, listening to every word, appreciating every moment you choose to share. Because here, your story counts. Your life counts. Your voice counts. Today, as we say goodbye, I want you to do something for me. Lift your head, take a deep breath, look around you, find something beautiful. It may be the sky, it may be a plant, it may be your reflection in the mirror. Smile at it, because all of that is you. All that is part of your story. All that is still here because you are still here. And tomorrow, when you wake up, remember this phrase. Today, I also choose to live. Repeat it, write it down, record it, and make that day one more on your path of hope, of love, of dreams, of gratitude, of movement, of purpose, of light. Because only 1 in 100 achieves this at 60. And today, you're already part of that 1%. And if you don't feel that way yet, then you're on your way. And the journey is also valuable. Thank you for being here. Thank you for living. Thank you for sharing. Until the next video, and until the next moment when we look at each other again, even if only through this screen, to say once more, you're still here. And that's the most beautiful thing of all. To living your best life at any age.